what is up everyone, I am Demon Cringe, and today I got some pretty bad news, ladies and gentlemen. Mighty Magiswords is getting cancelled because the creators just didn't listen. Now I bet I already know what you're all thinking. You're probably thinking, why am I saying that the creators didn't listen? Well, the thing is, Mighty Magiswords was actually a show that had a good amount of potential, you know. Honestly, I thought that it was gonna get better as time went on, but one of the main complaints about the show, and of course in my opinion, the thing that ended up killing it was just the horrible pacing and just the absolute onslaught of jokes without any timing whatsoever. So first off, let me read a bit of the article and then I'll share my opinion on this. So it says the last batch of episodes of Mighty Magiswords are now available on the Cartoon Network app in the United States, which means after 2 seasons, Prohias and Vamber's sword collecting adventures sadly will come to an end, but the episodes have yet to premiere on the Cartoon Network television channel. And yes, everyone, I'm pretty sure you've already noticed by the picture that I showed. Obviously they did a crossover episode with OKKO Let's Be Heroes, but honestly, yeah, it's not enough to save them. It's pretty bad, honestly. So now let's get into what I think about this. So first off, I really did not even know about Mighty Magiswords because of Cartoon Network's horrendous promotion. You know, like they basically did no marketing for the show whatsoever. The first time I actually saw the cartoon was when I was eating lunch, and like at the time they were actually running reruns of the Mighty Magiswords episodes. You know, during around 12 o'clock and all that stuff. I saw the show, and of course the horrible pacing left a really bad first impression on me and all that. And here's the thing, I decided to give the show a chance, you know, like next time I was eating lunch, obviously, you know, I was gonna flip on Cartoon Network and whatever was on, I was gonna, you know, give it a watch. I mean, it's not like I was gonna stick around for all that long. Mighty Magiswords came on again, and of course I decided to give it another chance, and despite the horrible pacing, I did see potential in the show, and since it was only in its first season, I thought it was gonna get better in time. But like I said, you know, it left a bad first impression in the first time around, and of course, since the main demographic is of course children, you know, not all, but on average, whenever they see a new show and it ends up leaving a bad first impression, more often than not, on average, they will not give it a second shot because of course kids are very picky. Now, one of the first things that I really loved in this show were of course the characters, because the characters were really unique, you know, in many things, in terms of their design. You know, I thought their designs were really interesting to look at, their personalities, they actually had established backstories and all that stuff, and as much as I remember, not a single character was actually just a one-time thing, you know, basically just shoveled into 1 or 2 episodes never to be seen again. All of the characters are actually reoccurring. You can see, you know, some ongoing plot lines and all that stuff. The second thing I really loved was of course the world building, okay? Now this is a thing that's like really bereft in Steven Universe and all that. Like in Steven Universe, the world building is absolutely god-awful. In this show, they really did a good job with the world building, you know, like establishing all these different locations as like their own things instead of just random one-offs. So much so that I can actually compare it to like Adventure Time. You know, like in Adventure Time you got the Ice Kingdom and all that, and of course in Mighty Magiswords you had like the Dinosaur Kingdom, which in my opinion was the most interesting location because of course dinosaurs and all that, blah blah blah. But the thing that really did kill this show, like I said, was the horrible pacing. They basically just had no breaks at all. Like it was basically joke after joke after joke, and it was so bad. At one point I actually felt like I was watching an episode of Johnny Test. I remember one time there was like an episode where their dinosaur buddy was actually in the cave area, and he was like at an election, and he basically did a reference to Jeb Bush's horrible please clap moment, and it was just so rushed. It felt like really shoehorned in and not genuine at all. And it wasn't just the horrible timing of the jokes, it was also characters merely talking that was also an issue that made it you know, super annoying. There were barely any moments of pause between one character stops talking and the other one starts. It was basically just, oh, now Prohias is talking, now Vamber is talking, now the dragon is talking, now someone else, and blah 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 blah. Everything was just moving at such a quick pace that you could barely even follow what was happening. Basically what they did is they took something that could have easily been a 15 to 20 minute episode and condensed it into a 10-minute one. Now, of course, I'm not saying that all of the episodes were like that. There were some good ones, like the Overly Friendly Ghost episode. I really like that one because it actually moved normally. Like the whole episode focused on that one singular thing that they were doing, instead of just moving from one thing to the other in very quick succession. They actually let the jokes develop, you know, over time. and actually be funny instead of just cramming it down your throat in just one singular moment and all that. Basically, what they should have done is they should have just slowed down the pacing like the fandom was telling them to do. They should slow it down, let everything develop as it goes on, you know. Don't use up all your jokes in just 1 to 2 minutes and leave the rest of your episode focused on nothingness. Now the thing is, okay, I do remember that the creators actually said that, oh well, we're listening to the fandom, we're gonna slow down the pacing in season 2 and make everything better and all that, but that's what they should have done, you know, during season 1. They should have already listened to the criticism, and of course they should have implemented, you know, implemented changes. They should have hired actual professionals to write the episodes, and of course they should have hired someone that knows to actually have moments of pause when one character stops talking before another one starts and all that. And one of the things that really pisses me off about this show actually getting cancelled is because the creator himself actually spent a lot of time, you know, brainstorming this show, and you know, now he finally got the green light to make the show and all that stuff. And of course, the writing team are a bunch of goddamn incompetent morons. You know, basically, I honestly think that some of the writers on this show probably took influence from fucking Johnny Test and all that stuff, because the pacing is just all over the place. Seriously, like, it really does suck. You know, honestly, a lot of the times I'm actually pinning the blame on Cartoon Network because, oh, Cartoon Network's a huge greedy corporation. Of course, a lot of the times when they do cancel shows, it is their fault. You know, like we all remember, you know, what happened to Symbionic Titan, and of course that show got cancelled because of corporate greed, because the toy sales weren't going anywhere and all that. But unfortunately, you know, in my opinion, for this show's cancellation, its blame lies mostly on the writers. Some of the blame is of course on Cartoon Network for not actually promoting it correctly, but mostly on the writers. And of course, now to finish off the video, I like to read off these 2 tweets. The first one is from Kyle A. Carosa, who says, "Oh hey, looks like the rest of the Mighty Magiswords Season 2 is available on the Cartoon Network app before they hit TV, hashtag Mighty Magiswords." And of course, the second one is from Ian Joe Squarty himself, who talks about the new crossover episode, and it says, "A new batch of Mighty Magiswords just dropped on Cartoon Network website app. If you like OKKO, you might want to check out this episode. Let's team up." And yeah, that is pretty much it. If you want to go read about the episodes on this article here, you can go to click the link in the description. I'm really saddened about this. Of course, the Elite creator feels really horrible about this. You know, this was their show that they were planning for so goddamn long. I really saw the potential in Mighty Magiswords, but unfortunately, the writers were absolutely god-awful in terms of the pacing of the episodes. Of course, no chiming with the jokes whatsoever, just one joke after another. And unfortunately, they were just way too late to actually address the criticism. The viewership dropped off, and unfortunately, the show ended up falling into the pit of mediocrity, where IPs that do have potential but really don't hit the mark, unfortunately, go to die. Anyway, everyone, that about wraps it up for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and press the bell icon. And if you wish to support me in a different way, my Patreon link is in the description below. And as always, I'm even cringe, and I'll be seeing you guys else in the next video.